Pittsburgh Steelers fans, it is Matty P with Marky D with you'd love to say breaking news about the schedule, but I feel like the whole thing's been leaked the whole damn week. I know it's a bugbear for you, Marky D, but one, very quickly, how you going? And two, gut reaction to the schedule. Don't go into games, just say gut reaction. I just want a word or two words.
Firstly, how I'm going is the internet's soft and so is Twitter. I'm just going to say that, right? I've got my first block today from some loser. So the internet's soft and so is Twitter. My gut reaction to this is week 6. Week 6.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying is week 6 is it's a bit early.
Yeah. You reckon it's too early?
I think so. You got to play 12 games in a row.
But you know what's good about all right, so what I like about it, and I want to go week by week, but week 6 bye is good. If you have an injury in the preseason, you can get someone back by the bye. Do you know what I mean? Equally, if you have an injury and it's not healing on someone, or they suffered in week 2 and it's going to be 6 weeks, you can do some trades, all the rest of it, because it's before the trade deadline. I don't mind that. It gives you a chance to assess things and work out what you need, or even go and acquire someone if the Steelers look at things and go, well, hey, we'll give it to the bye, it's not working, etc. I mean, look, week 6 is early in a 17-game season, but remember, Steelers are always better down the stretch anyway. So I'm not too.
I would like a week 8 or week 9
like
last year. I think last year was pretty good for a week 8, week 9 was kind of cool. But then I think the Steelers have an easier schedule in terms of teams too than last year. So, we're going to talk about every single one of them.
Yeah, let's go through week by week. And so anyone listening right now live, whether in a live chat or whether you've got it playing on the background, Mark and I both do that on our shows. We know that. Or when we're watching shows, have a think as we're going to the schedule. Do you think is your favorite thing about the schedule, or one of the games, or what's your favorite week matchup? And then tell us what your worst one is. We'll save that to the end of the show. So just be thinking about that as we're going through. All right, Mark, San Francisco 49ers, at Acrisure, at home. Steelers get a home game for the first time in, how many years is it?
Yeah,
9, right? It's funny too. I predicted this could be the game. And everyone went, no, they're not going to do that. When we did the record prediction before the draft, I picked San Francisco. I said it could be the first game, and everyone's like, no way. I was like, okay, well, there you go. That's a good time to play the San Francisco 49ers, right? Week 1 is a very good time. Mike Tomlin has the whole offseason to scheme for them. They get into a rhythm down the stretch. They're not going to necessarily have their offense in rhythm. Whoever's going to be the quarterback there, whether it's Brock Purdy, Trey Lance, or isn't Sam Darnold over there? I think Sam Darnold's
I think he's going to get another shot,
right? So I do like that, right? And you it's going to be Kittle and McCaffrey straight up, right? So it's a nice look. Nick Bosa, Broderick Jones, that's going to be a week 1 matchup.
Let's put it this way: I think the last 4 times we've won it week 1, we beat the Bills, we beat the Bengals, right?
Yep.
So that happened. Now the Steelers, like you said, everything you said is factual. And listen, this is probably the best time to get them because they're both 0-0. One, if you lose this game, you're 0-1. You can fix the whole season. If you win this game, it's another it's a win column for later on in the year. This is probably the perfect time, and also we get a home game because the Pirates aren't playing there. So now we get and because the Steelers also have 9 home games too. So this to me, we won't be favored. There's no way the Steelers will be favored to win this game at home. I think the 49ers are probably the better team. But if they can sneak away with a win and get 1-0, and also it's daytime too. It's going to be out 3 a.m., but it's not hyped up as much too. It's 1 p.m. game. This is probably the best spot just to ease into the season and see who plays better on the day.
And then, the other thing is it's about 4 days before my wedding. So hopefully you and I can enjoy some victory beverages and sherbets at my wedding.
We got to sort that out too. It's going to be a crazy few days.
There we go. So I'm interested to see when Houston comes up on this list, because that might be a realistic shot for me in terms of some of my honeymoon plans if they come off. But anyway, we moved. This is a show about Steelers. Move to Cleveland Browns. So you have your first divisional matchup in week 2 at Acrisure. So the cool thing is the Steelers are playing at home twice. The Browns don't always play well in Acrisure or Heinz Field. this is a sort of roster that sets the Steelers up like to very much go 2-0, like if they want to. What do you think about Cleveland first up out of all the AFC North rivals?
I think that should be not an automatic win, but I think it should be what do you call it? A competitive chance to win that game. Like they should be able to walk away with a W. Having it at home too, I think would be great. If they win or lose the first one, they can still have a chance to go 1-1. Also, they get it's Monday Night Football, right? Is it Monday? So they get another chance,
Correct.
another day or so rest. Early in the season,
that's nice to start the season, man. Like, feeling good after those bumps and bruises. Like, and particularly when you think about, they get the bye in the preseason, and we'll have a quick look at the preseason. Toward the end of the show, but that's a nice way to ease into the season, particularly when you've got the bye in week 6, which we just talked about. I like that. Then we've got the Vegas Raiders away. Now it's I think we played them in week 3. Not last year, but the year before, didn't we?
It was early, right? I don't know.
Wasn't that the year that isn't that when TJ got injured in 2021? I think I'm pretty sure that was the Vegas Raiders game
in 2021 or 2022.
2021.
Okay, let me.
Isn't that when he did the pec? I thought that's when he. No, he did the pec last year. There was an injury. There was injury against the Raiders. Who was it? Someone got injured in that Raiders game. I thought it was TJ. Anyway, so then what do you? I mean, they've got to go back across the country.
Yeah, exactly right.
Then they come back through Houston. Oh, here we go. This is half a shot actually for me. Yeah. But what do you feel about this stretch going away to the Vegas Raiders? Then you play Houston. It's only a week. You'd have to think the Steelers aren't going. You'd have to think the Steelers aren't going back to Pittsburgh. They might be finding a base camp somewhere on the West Coast.
Well, it's not too bad, really, because you start the season off with 2 back-to-back home games, which sets you up then to get ready to go out to the West Coast. And they don't really win over that way, but it is a new offense, more or less new team. So we'll see what happens. I still give them a chance to go out there. Like, it's not too bad. The coming up really is the one that scares me, the week 6 bye. But Raiders over there, I think if the Steelers go 2-0, like, man, there'll be a team. These are all good. These are all good matches. I like the way it's going so far, right? So
and you know what? I haven't looked at the whole schedule because I was busy getting this.
Haven't you really? Prepared. Haven't you seen it?
No. So I'm reacting to this live. I've had a really busy morning. Like, honestly, I'm looking. I do not know what's beyond week.
You go 6. On like point by point. You don't know.
Literally, everyone is getting my absolute live reaction. I didn't look at anything. I promised I'd give you a live reaction. This is what you're getting. But Mark, do you reckon they'll go back to Pittsburgh, or do you reckon they'll just stay on the West Coast and find a base camp?
What would they normally do? I think they would
you're gonna get on the plane to go back home, and then I don't know.
Wouldn't you want to go see your family though? I don't know how that works.
I can fly out there. I don't know. I just wanted you to do a siege mentality. A lot of other sports, I'm particularly thinking about World Cups and that. You just do the week. Why would you put your players through that jet lag? And remember, Texas is a different time zone to Pacific time. Obviously, Steelers are in the Eastern time zone, so you're mucking with people's sleep patterns and stuff like that. You'd almost have to operate on an alternative time schedule. Do you know what I mean? You might be playing at what time they're playing? 1 p.m. in Houston, but really in your mind, you're up at 5 a.m. because you're preparing as if it was a 3 p.m. game. That stuff is actually important. Right. Screwing with your sleep by 2 hours can be really, really difficult.
So we have the first 2 home games, and we have 2 away, and then we come back to home for Baltimore. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Where it is right now, I think it's fine. I think the Raiders. So also 2 Sunday Night Football games or 2 primetime games back to back is pretty awesome for us anyway. So that'd be cool. But I'm happy with that so far. And then Texans, who knows what's going to happen there?
That'll be a tough game. They've actually they're building a roster. They are revamping that roster. Definitely. All right. So, they come off and also they're going to run the football, right? That's the other thing when you look at these games. Let's look at the first 5 games the first 4 games before you get to Baltimore. San Francisco 49ers, we know they run the football. McCaffrey, they've got a few other guys. They run Debo. They, really, they probably play Matt Canada offense better than he does. Browns, you got Nick Chubb, and they've got a decent running back room. You go Josh Jacobs with Las Vegas. Houston have Damon Pierce.
Oh, yeah, he's a good run back too.
Yeah, he's a really good running back. Had a really good rookie year. Surprised a lot of people as a fourth or fifth round pick. He could have gone higher. And then you end up with Baltimore. So this is a very heavy start to the season. Like, I know you don't love the bye right now in week 6, but I'm sitting there and I'm like, you're going to be doing a lot of trench warfare in the first 5 6 weeks of the season. Right? Having the bye is probably a good thing.
Well, I guess week 7's an easy win. I really don't rate the Rams. I reckon the Rams are shocking.
But do you reckon they'll get up against Baltimore after? I just want to pick that one point up after having to travel to the West Coast maybe twice in 2 weeks. Do you think?
True.
Like it's going to be a game. You know,
they have to get up. They have to.
But this is when I went back to the record. I've got that notebook, but it's actually under my desk, so I'm not going to get off the camera. But I had them losing. I had the Steelers losing against the Ravens at home like last year and winning away. And I think you had them winning at home and maybe losing away. So this is definitely an interesting one on that.
I like how it's 1 p.m. as well. It's not, they normally do the prime time, but the 1 p.m. games, I think the Steelers kind of like, it's not as overhyped and crazy. But to me, if you're going to end week 5 and you have a chance to go 3-2, possibly 4-1 in that stretch, then you get a bye to reassess. Maybe that is a really good spot for it. I'm just thinking more or less the longevity.
Mark,
of the
that's
other game.
epic too for the Aussie fans because I'm pretty sure that's the October long weekend, the 8th. So we'll have the Monday off. Well, so this is playing on the 8th of October.
Okay.
So the 9th on ours, I'm pretty sure that's the October long weekend for us.
6-hour stream. Here we go. Let's go. 7-hour stream. No, it's good. It is good because I think if you can go 4-1 in that span, then you get a bye. It all makes sense. But then it does get a bit tougher because then you haven't got a bye for the rest of the duration. But maybe that's why the Steelers now have such great depth at all positions.
Well, and then you're going to have when we'll have a look at the Thursday night football situation and the difference that makes for you. They then have to go away to Los Angeles right after the bye. So this is kind of cool because
plenty of time.
There's league rules around whether players, what you can do with them in a bye week. But I would anticipate they're going to be able to leave for this matchup quite early on in the piece and get, acclimated on the West Coast. What I don't like is, what I wasn't going to like when I first saw Jacksonville and I remembered they were home was imagine if you had to go to Los Angeles 1 week and then play in Jacksonville the next. Like I've done that flight I've done a flight from San Diego to pretty much Jacksonville, and it's a long time on the plane, and that's saying something from someone that lives a 12-hour flight, 14-hour flight from the US. But then you go Jacksonville at home. This is going to be an interesting stretch because Jacksonville are an up and coming team, man. Like they pushed the Chargers in the divisional round last year.
Yeah, I was telling on Steel Nation Oz that if I was going to go over, I would go over for the Jacksonville game and the Tennessee Titan game because you get 2 games in 1 week, the Sunday and the Thursday. I'd go there the Friday and then leave the next Sunday. I'd be there for 8 days. So if I win the lotto, I'll take you over, Matty.
Sounds good. Same here. Packed. We made a pact. Everyone here, you got the receipts. I think. Yeah, so then they obviously got the Tennessee Titans there.
Back-to-back home games pretty good though, so it's growing on me a bit. So you go to LA, then back-to-back home games is always nice to have that. I think.
Well, we've got 3 because then we've got Green Bay Packers at home in week.
Is that home? Is that home as well? Is it?
Yeah, we've got 3 game stretch at home.
Oh my goodness! So maybe it's not as bad having the bye week at number 6 then, because at least you're at home. I don't want to see them traveling all over the shop.
Wow. The other thing too is, if Tannehill's not playing, the Steelers might be playing 3 quarterbacks within their first 2 years of experience. Mike Tomlin, I haven't done the stats on Mike Tomlin on rookie quarterbacks or young quarterbacks, but I like it. I like it. I like coming at home. I like you having to face Cam Hayward and TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith and Ogunjobi and Keanu Benton up the middle. What are your thoughts really? And I know I'm jumping to Green Bay, but what are your thoughts about Jordan Love? He's been in the league 4 years. He's only played 2 games. I'm a fan.
But can he get it done? Like, can he go out there and win? Like,
guy's got an arm. He's got the legs. He's been able to sit behind. He's been able to learn what's good about Aaron Rodgers, learn what's not.
So he's going to come in and carve it up, pretty much.
I think he might have a rough few first weeks. I haven't looked at their schedule. But I think he's going to be good. I'd hoped a couple of years ago, to be honest, that Aaron Rodgers was going to freeze him out of Green Bay and he was going to slide into Pittsburgh, sit for Ben for like 6 months, and then he was our quarterback. And that was well before Pickett was in the mix and whatever. But I was in that train back in 20. So when Ben came back from injury in 2020, I think Jordan Love had been sitting behind Aaron for 1 year, and I was hoping the Steelers might even move like a third or a fourth pick and go grab him. So yeah, I'm actually a fan of Jordan Love.
Do you think the Tennessee Titan game they'll wear the color rush jersey for Thursday Night Football week 9?
I hope so, because Tennessee's color rush is fire as well.
Yeah,
like
they normally do that too. They did that a few years ago. I think it was the game where they had the stupid camera. The one was like the really high camera, the drone. That's all we saw. So that's going to be a big game too.
I actually didn't mind that drone, by the way. Yeah, it could be that game. I mean, I would have liked to see them wear them against Green Bay, but they probably won't. If there was classic jerseys, they could have done the classic jerseys against Green Bay. Then they go play away at Cleveland, and then they go play away at the Bengals. This is what is going to. It'll be this 2-game stretch that I feel is going to be really important for the AFC North, particularly if the Steelers go into this game having beaten the Browns and having beaten the Ravens, and they're 2-0 in the division. These 2 games could decide the division. And I know it sounds odd to say before we play the Bengals again and then the Ravens again, but if the Steelers go 4, if they go through this stretch and they're 4-0, they're very likely. I think the division will be, even if one of the teams or 2 of the teams are nowhere near playoff contention, I still think the divisional games this year are going to be really difficult.
It's the buffer. So if you beat the Browns, beat the Bengals, you go up 2, they go down 2. So you're exactly right. At this point here, no matter what, if we were like 6 and something, if you get 2 and you're 8-2 or whatever you are after it, then you have the buffer of getting those 2 games. So if you go and beat the Browns, beat the Ravens, and you set yourself up to not only sweep the Browns and then beat the Bengals once, but if you lose those 2, then division is almost on the out because Bengals will probably run away with it. And then we got to go for the wild card. You win those 2 away, which can happen, right? You have a great chance to finish the season well.
Yeah.
So back to back Ohio games too, which also is like, what's that? Not as much travel too. So maybe there's not as much travel as I thought when it's breaking down right now, because we're going out to the Rams, going to Texans, but back to back Ohio games. That's like 3 hours away, 2 hours away.
I'm the half a shot at those actually. My fiance really wants to go to the Cleveland Zoo and the Cincinnati Zoo, and I'm just like, well, maybe we just do both, and then
what about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or something like that?
Yeah, and you've got the NFL Hall of Fame. All right,
you have to go there. You got to go. I'll be in there.
100. Then we got another 2-game stretch at home, Cardinals and Patriots. Because remember, we had the 17th game that we played away last year, right? So we've got the other one. So if let's say you lose the Browns and the Bengals, you can get back on track with the Cardinals and the Patriots. I think the Patriots will have imploded by this point, to be honest.
You reckon they're gone skis? You reckon they're out of the playoff race? It's that 13 games in, so they could be 6 and something, 6 and 7, or 5 and
5 and 8, 5 and 8 maybe. Yeah. Well, they wouldn't be. They'd be 5 and 7, assuming when their buys.
Fair enough.
And then they go away to Indianapolis. I'm not scared by Anthony Richardson, no matter what he's doing. And the Steelers have got a defense that can shut him down. If you can shut Lamar Jackson down, you're going to shut Anthony Richardson down in his first year. I also like Kenny Pickett in a stadium, right? Anyone that's got a question about Kenny Pickett's arm, and people usually think of like arm power as how far you can throw it down the football field, but it's also the velocity you can put on a ball in a tight window. And Kenny, surprised them all last year with his ability to do that. But you think about Kenny and throwing at Heinz and the wins at Heinz Field or Acrisure Stadium. He's done it at Pitt. He did it. He's done it for a season with the Steelers. And then you got place Kenny in the stadium. That's going to be cool, man. Like, I like that. So yeah, I think that's one we talked about as potentially win. I think we did say, even when we did the record prediction of home and away teams, I think we said we felt Indianapolis Colts would be late in the mix.
These last 3 are going to be tough depending where we are in the season. If we're on the playoff edge, these will be tough games. Cincinnati, Seattle, going to Seattle, and then because they're going to be a good side too, I think Seattle, and then Ravens to finish. That is probably the toughest 3 games I think in the whole schedule.
Yeah, so I want you to break each one down. All I'll say is, what I like the most, what I think is the toughest game for them to win, right? And they're used to winning late in the season at M&T Bank Stadium, and that game will probably be flexed to
like last year. They won last year.
Yeah. Is the toughest game out of these 3 games is the Bengals game, and that's the one that's at home, right?
Right.
I love that. And you know what else I love? You and I can ring in the new year watching the Seattle Seahawks game because it's on the 31st.
Oh, what's that? Is that New Year's Day for us?
Yeah, man.
Sherbets. I'm not going out New Year's night. New Year's Eve's overrated me. I'm sleeping in at like 8 p.m., waking up with a nice breakfast and getting right on the sherbets.
Yeah,
that's going to be our...
Carry on through with the sherbets, man.
That's going to be our, I think, 8 a.m. or 9 a.m., I think. Yeah, that's a good one. In Seattle too. Pete Carroll versus Mike Tomlin. And they'll be gunning for a spot as well. They'll be gunning for their division. They'll be gunning for a wild card too. So if we are as well, that's hyped up too. Hopefully the Ravens aren't gunning for anything and we can play their backups. Or the real question is, will Lamar Jackson be there at any point? Will you be there at week 4, whenever it was?
But this is the great thing, right? If you think the Ravens are tough because of Lamar Jackson, which I don't think a lot of people that really like it think that, but you don't have to. He won't be there. He won't be.
Yeah, he might not be there week 5. To be honest, you don't know where he's going to be.
So I like this schedule, man. I don't know how it could have been worse, to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't know how it could have been better.
Yeah.
I'm going to zoom out just to capture this again. So there's 1-2 game in a row home at stretch to start the season, right? And then we do want to have a quick look at the preseason games. And then we have from week 8, week 9, week 10, 3 weeks, we have another 3-game stretch at home. And then we go again and we have another 2-game stretch week 13, 14. So what there is here is if the Steelers go on a 2-game slide anywhere during the season, they've got 2 or 3 weeks where they can play at home. Most of their home games should be fairly, not saying they're easy wins, but they should be straightforward. They're not games you're like, oh my God, I'm freaked out about it, right? And so it will allow the Steelers to get back on track and their rookies to get familiarity, or their rookies to sort of have a reset when they need to have a reset, feel comfortable when the season's getting into the real grind after the bye. I like this, man. I really like this schedule.
Yeah, I think the more I think about it and look at it, I don't really worry about that week 6 now, because then you prepare to go to the Rams, you come back with 2 home games in a row, and then you go away to 2 away games in Ohio. It's really close. So, and I think the teams are a lot easier on paper than last year as well. Let's be honest. Who are we playing the preseason? Who we got?
So we got Tampa week 1, August 11th.
Whoa! Who's their
We got
quarterback?
Buffalo. So we got Buffalo week 2. I might have a work trip around.
What happened to the Panthers? We used to play Panthers like
yeah, I know,
12 years in a row.
No,
that's strange.
They didn't want us to rough up the rookie quarterback.
Jeez.
But it is interesting. I'm looking at this game going, I'm half a shot at getting to Acrisure for that game.
Which one? The Buffalo?
Yeah, I just found out this week I've got a potential work trip in the US on starting that Monday in August, so I could probably.
You have to do a meetup. You got to meet the Yinzers.
That's it, man.
Yinzers.
That's it.
We could do a live call. You're over there. I'm over here.
Yeah, you'd be cranky.
I'll get there next year. I'm planning to go next year.
Yeah, right. We're Mark and I are actively discussing what 2024 looks like.
It would be good though, honestly. I really would go to that Jags and Titans game.
That Jags Titans, you're right though. That's pretty epic. That's Thursday, so good for international fans.
Bang.
It's so hard, because you guys don't particularly for Mark and I in Australia. You can only fly direct to the West Coast, which means then obviously you got to fly across to the East Coast, and then it is a mammoth effort.
If I had coin and if I had a bit of spare coin, I'd probably book it today, because you could just take off a week and a half. That's all you need is a week and a half.
100%.
You can live in Pittsburgh for 8 days.
You don't even, Mark. You leave on the Friday arvo in Australia, right? You land there Saturday. You land there Friday, so you could leave on Friday or the Saturday. You're there. Yeah. And that's when you land on the West Coast.
You get the same day, right? You land
exactly. And then so you only have to take 6-7 days off work, and you get to 2 games. Man, you're tempting me. It's too close to my wedding.
That would be the best. Like for international fans, any Australian fans listening out there, I'm going to tell them that go see Jaguars, go see Titans.
But even any fans that are in Britain or Germany or wherever the heck you are,
LA,
yeah.
Still pretty far.
LA, you can get the 3 home games. You can get the 3 games this year if you do it.
Oh, that would be just classic.
Isn't JJ52? I think he's in our general region in the world, so even he might be able to get over there. But I like this schedule. You and I predicted 12-5 a few weeks back, and when we said the team had definitely improved 2 to 3 wins beyond the 9-8 last year. I'm going to ask you this question, and then everyone else in the live chat right now, or listening live, I want to know in the live chat, so Mark and I will go through it once Mark's answered this question. I want to go through what's your favorite game on the schedule, your favorite week on the schedule, what do you like least about the schedule? But Mark, while the live chat does that and puts that into the live chat, as I said just before, you and I predicted 12-5 when we did the record prediction. We also definitely said the team had improved by 2 or 3 wins, on the 9 they did last year. How do you feel about those predictions and opinions now that you've seen the schedule and the way it's broken down?
I still like 12-5. I think a lot of the easier teams this year, I think that can happen. I think minimum 10 games we can win. If they play confidently and competitively, they can win 10. 12, I think is the good number to go and win that North. Around 12-5 is like probably the highest. So I'm happy between 10 and 12 games.
Yeah.
For me. And the schedule's growing on me, man. Everything we've said and talked through the last 20 minutes, it's growing on me how it all pans out. It's 5 games in a row, go hard in the paint, get a break. Then you go to LA, come back for 2 home games. It's all starting to make sense.
Which is the game that
good
you think the Steelers are most likely to lose?
Most likely to lose. You know what? I might even say, for a quick answer, Seattle. I think Seattle.
Okay.
I think they'll be good. They'll be a good team. They'll be fighting for a spot too, depending. I was going to say Niners, but I feel like that's a 50-50 game because it's open to anyone. There's no tape on anyone. Everyone's fresh. You have a brand new team. They got brand new players as well. So maybe Seattle.
I've got either. The Patriots is going to be harder than what people think because it is a Thursday night after playing on Sunday. Like they're playing 4 days later. That could be Mark. That could be a color rush jersey game as well if the Patriots have a white color rush. Less likely though than Tennessee. I think week 12 against the Bengals after the Steelers have had to play. I know they're playing 3 at home, and then they go to the Browns, and that Browns game in Cleveland it's not a nice game, right? We all know the background and the history, but it's not a nice game. And they're gonna have to do a lot of run defending, and then they've got to go play a completely different team, and they're gonna do a lot of run defending after they've already played Jacobs, Henry, Travis Etienne. There's another running back with Jacksonville as well. Like I just feel. Yeah, I kind of feel week 12 could be the toughest game on that schedule, but I do agree with you, Seattle. I mean, the other thing is it's going to be a nightmare and cold and windy, but that's also often the case in Pittsburgh, so I don't hate that.
What was your other question you had? Did you have 3 questions? I forgot.
I had the other question, which is your favorite game on the schedule?
Favorite game? Ooh, it's hard to pick one, isn't it? I don't even know. Maybe, you know what? Week 5, I want to see him smash Baltimore at home. I want to see Lamar Jackson throw like 3 or 4 picks and get done. He's the highest paid quarterback. I think week 5 going to a bye and see where the team is, because you'll know how the team is playing by then. You'll just know it. You'll understand what they're doing for the rest of the season. So probably week 5, and you'll know who some of the starters are too. Will you have Jones in there? We have Jones in there the whole time. I agree with J Devil. It's facts. That's facts.
Yeah, LA. So J Devil says LA 100% is a home game. Pittsburgh Toddy, who thank you for your comment too on the Allen Robinson video that I did yesterday, the day before, on those stats. Yeah, I like to pull stats that other people aren't looking at, but appreciate your comment. I've been meaning to come back to that one. But yeah, they say 10 to 11. Eric says week 1 favorite game, sets the tone for the entire season. I definitely back that comment. J Devil, not so excited about the Vegas game. It's the first test in the West this season. I like that test in the West. That's it, man. Patent that. That's what we're going to call it, Jeff. Hold us to account. The rest of the offseason through the season, it's the test in the West. I love that. That is hectic.
That's awesome.
Brian Brown, the Steelers aren't losing. Devils like 20-0. Well, I was going to say, like, if they do win 13 or 14 games, I wouldn't be shell-shocked based on the schedule I see in front of me. I think it's more unlikely, but but the schedule could be a lot worse.
They just got to show up. But I think there's an easier schedule than last year. They just got to show up.
There's a much easier schedule than last year.
And I think this team is really ready to play. Like, everyone's hyped up. The fans are hyped up. The team's hyped up. They'll be ready to play, I think. Big time.
All division games was the best. Devils, Ravens.
They really are.
The Ravens get destroyed. What's the schedule?
Oh, it was Gentry. So Gentry did something, but it took too long, so I jumped off. It was him talking in a schoolroom. Last year was better. You can't beat Franco last year. That was great.
Nah,
so
that was awesome. Yeah.
That was great.
All right. Well, we'll wrap up the show. Wanted to keep it to a quick half hour for everyone. Mark, thoughts, feelings, Steelers?
You've talked me out of. I think the bye. I was like, bye 6 sucks. But now I think if you go hard in the paint with 5 games in a row, you go 4-1, you go 5-0. You know what I mean? Or even 4-1's fine. And then you go to the bye, reassess. Then you have 2 home games, and you have 2 away in Ohio, which is like local stuff. Then you go on tackle the rest of the other 7-8 games. So I'm pretty happy with that too, man. I'm really excited, man. And like I said, if I win the lotto, I have to start playing it now, because I am taking us to the Jags game on the Friday, and then we'll leave the Sunday afternoon, or because that's great. Like, that's Sunday football and Thursday night football. You
know what? It would be good. It gives us time to have a massive night out, enjoying the Steelers win a game, recover, hangover breakfast the next day.
I need 2 days, man. I'm getting off.
Right? Hangover, recover for 2 days, drive down to the Pro Football Hall of Fame for 2 days, come back and do it all again.
Yeah, no, it's those back-to-back games. And if you're
Pepper,
I said hello. Check the tape. It's in there in the comments.
It's like,
but if you're
good old ladies in the live stream during the draft at 4 a.m. in the morning.
I picked.
Actually, that was on your one. That wasn't even 4 a.m. That was just too many sherbets on day 1 of the draft.
And I picked on the Wish Kids as well. But look, honestly, if I took some time off and if I was American over there, I'd be going that 3-game stretch. I would somehow find a way to get an Airbnb and stay around Pittsburgh and go 3 games in a row. That'd be great to see 3 games in a row.
Yeah, man.
That'd be awesome. So, but I think it looks good for us. I think the Steelers team, they've got us. Well, they got us what, 7 wins this season? Not going to happen. There's no way. I'll be disappointed if they get 7. Their minimum is probably like, I think 10. Their maximum 15. Who knows? This team's going to be so much better.
15.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Well, I'm still thinking 12. I think 12. I think they're going to win 12.
Yeah, I think 12. I think 12 is a really good. How to put this? Like, that's a good yardstick, you know. And remember, I said this a while back too. Like, remember I said it going into last year on our shows when we were back at the Steel Curtain Network, that like the way I felt was this team after the 11-0 capitulation didn't know how to lose and didn't. And what I mean by that is like actually avoid losing. And they needed to learn that. And I think last year they learned how to win games down the stretch. And I think that's gonna bode very, very well for this year. But with that is going to wrap up this episode of Steelers Touchdown Under Boys. Stay tuned for all we've got to come on the channel over the next few days. As always, Marky D.
We'll see you guys in September.
You won't.
Go Steelers. Here we go.